Parents want this book right there. See it? The Genderqueer. They want it out of their kids' library. And now they're the ones getting sued over it. Plus, hundreds of college professors just said teaching the Declaration of Independence is indoctrination. You'll never guess where.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful.
Welcome back. Well, right now, the battle for our children's future, it's not being fought in China or in the Middle East. It's happening inside their minds and inside our classrooms. Our kids are being inundated with leftist propaganda every time they open their textbooks or go to the library, where shelves are teeming with inappropriate books. And in New Jersey, one set of parents, they couldn't take it anymore. At Roxbury High School, sitting in the library was a series of sexually explicit books, including such titles as Genderqueer, This Book is Gay, and Fun Home. Oh, sounds fun. And now this isn't unique to the Garden State, we know that. Graphic novels like these are found in a number of schools in a number of states across the country. And if you flip through the pages, you'll be astonished on what you find inside. If your kid checks out Genderqueer, they'll read this, and you might want to cover some ears here. The more I had to interact with my genitals, the less likely I was to reach a point of satisfaction. The best fantasy was one that didn't require any physical touch at all. That's actually an edited one from what we had earlier because we couldn't play it. With content like this, it's no surprise that parents were upset. Two parents in New Jersey found a copy of Genderqueer in their kids' library, and they decided to speak out, and a number of other books like it. They went to the school board and demanded it be pulled from the library immediately, equating the book to hardcore pornography. But leave it to left-wing New Jersey to shut them down. So their efforts failed. The book was staying on the shelves with no restrictions, according to the school. And that's not even the worst part. Now the librarian of the school is suing two of the parents for defamation. The librarian says she was labeled as a, quote, child predator and was accused of luring children with pornography. Is this what it's had to come to? Parents can now get sued over pointing out inappropriate books in their kids' schools. Kristen Cobo, and Christina Ballestieri are two of the concerned parents at the center of the lawsuit, and they join me now. Kristen and Christina, thanks for being here. Kristen, let me start with you. So you find out about these inappropriate books. Kids as young as 13 could be checking them out. They're right there front and center in the library. You raise it to the appropriate people inside the school. You bring it to the school board. Obviously, the librarian is a part of providing this material. And what happens next?
Right. So we went straight to the administrators, to the school board. We spoke out month after month. First time we brought to their attention was in August of 2022. And I can tell you today, all those books still remain in the library.
They do. And not just that, but Christina, you're now being sued by the librarian of the school for simply pointing out that the books in her library are inappropriate?
Absolutely. All we did was contact the Board of Ed and let them know and make other parents aware of what was in there. And then we spoke about it at a Board of Ed meeting in March. And then a couple weeks later, we were served with a lawsuit.
A defamation lawsuit? Is that what it was? Just for simply saying this is what's in your library?
Defamation.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Basically questioning. Go ahead, Pete.
No,
Sorry.
please fill in the blanks.
So basically what we're arguing is we're in the fight for against the sexualization of our children in America, and especially in New Jersey. And we feel that this content should not be made available to minor children, especially in the school district where our children are quickly rising. And that's what we spoke to. We spoke to the fact that these are our children, nobody else's, and we have the right to direct the upbringing, and those books do not match the morals and values that I teach in my home.
But unfortunately, they seem to match the values of New Jersey, which is pushing radical gender theories into kindergartens now, into elementary schools as well. Christina, is this an intimidation attempt? Like, try us, and if you do, we're going to put you on your heels.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what this is. It's just to, in my opinion, scare not only us, but other parents from speaking up, and probably just to hit us with as many legal fees as possible.
Kristen, what's your message to other parents who might see this and they're scared to speak up because they'll be targeted? What's your message to them tonight?
Right. My message is we have one chance to get this right with our children, and we are their last line of defense against this agenda. And I say speak out. Who cares what they call you? You know your truth. You are on the right side of history. And again, we are the last ones. We have parents, grandparents, teachers reaching out to us saying thank you. We've watched this go on in Roxbury for years, and we're disgusted, and thank you for speaking out. So speak your truth, and don't let anybody silence you. This is about the kids.
It's all about the kids. You're right. You're the only line of defense. Thank you for speaking up and fighting back. You'll find a lot of friends, a lot of allies that'll come alongside you who, once one person speaks up, they'll join you. Kristen, Christina, thank you. Keep us posted on this lawsuit.
Thank you so much, Pete.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll stay on the issue of education. When you think of the University of North Carolina, not the University of Berkeley, North Carolina, a few things come to mind. Maybe it's the fact that it's considered one of the public Ivies. Maybe you think of their picturesque campus in Chapel Hill. Or if you're like me, you think of Tar Heels basketball and a young Michael Jordan wearing baby blue and launching his legacy as the GOAT. It's always been a notable school, but never thought of it as thoroughly unpatriotic until today. A group of nearly 700 of the university's employees and professors, 700, recently signed a letter warning against new legislation in the North Carolina State House, including a bill mandating that all students, this is the mandate, all students at the University of North Carolina take one course in American history. Not a bad idea, right? Well, don't tell that to these professors in their ivory towers. They think learning about America is, and this is their words, indoctrination. In the letter of these 700, they say, quote, if enacted, we believe that these measures will further damage the reputation of UNC and the state of North Carolina. So we're damaging the reputation of the state for learning about American history. By the way, I'm sure they teach the 1619 version anyway. So what is the required reading for the course that they're taking such issue with? Well, you're not going to believe it. By their standards, college kids should not be learning about the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Maybe if the legislature suggested that those documents be read aloud by a drag queen, then maybe these 700 would be on board with that. Or what about the Emancipation Proclamation or the Federalist Papers? They're required reading for the course as well. Never mind that the document quite literally freed the slaves. It might upset some purple-haired, gluten-free gender studies majors. So UNC says, nope, it's got to go. I mean, for crying out loud, even MLK's letter from a Birmingham jail and the Gettysburg Address are being protested because they might, quote, trigger the students. The left loves to say Republicans don't want to teach history, ban books. But Democrats don't want your kids learning about this.
King pens his now celebrated letter from Birmingham jail, defending the resistance of African Americans. In solitary confinement, he writes, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." The letter becomes a touchstone for the civil rights movement.
They don't even want us teaching Martin Luther King Jr. to the students of UNC. Is this where we're at? Let's turn to 2024 GOP candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, thank you very much for being here. I'll ask you that question. Is this where we're at? I mean, the employees protest if U.S. history is simply required.
Pete, this is part of a broader assault on American identity itself. Our problem isn't that we have civic education, it's that we don't have enough of it. And here's an interesting fact, all right? If you're an immigrant and you want to become a citizen of this country, you actually have to pass a test. Among the questions included in that test include things like, how many amendments are there in the U.S. Constitution? There's 27. Who were the authors of the Federalist Papers? John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison. If immigrants who want to actually immigrate to this country and become citizens have to know these things, I think there should be no objection to actually teaching it to somebody who's a student at a public university. So don't believe that this is about anything other than an assault on American history itself, because there is this anti-American strain, Pete, and you know it well, that wishes to apologize for the existence of a nation founded on our ideals, and I refuse to do it, and I think we need more people willing to stand up and say that.
No, it's a desire to completely erase our history and our heritage, sins, warts and all, It's bad from the beginning. Throw it out. Because if you don't teach it and you don't understand it, you fall prey to the complete mischaracterization of it. I mean, this is something that will manifest itself in politics later on when these people become voters as well.
And Pete, that is why I go to college campuses when I'm touring this country on the campaign trail. What I see in young people is they are so hungry for a cause. They're hungry for purpose and meaning. Right. They are lost. We can give that to them in the form of this American national identity. That's why I'm running. I'm the first millennial ever to run for president as a Republican. Part of the reason why is I want to reach those college students because I think they can actually come along in the pro-American movement as long as we get these professors in the managerial class out of the way. I'm actually hopeful that their hunger for purpose will lead us back to America.
If you could do that, that would be a Herculean feat because right now they find their purpose and identity in their gender identification or in affecting the weather. I don't know how we make that pivot. I mean, maybe part of it is a civics course. Hey, if that's
we're going to do it. That's a starting point.
If that,
we're going to make it happen.
And I've heard you give a speech on this topic before, quite poignantly, drawing on history. We need more people articulating it. Vivek, thank you so much for your time.